Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. This is Brendan Lee with Consciousness and Skill Worldwide, founded by Peter Ralston. All right, question. Thank you for writing. I straight up asked you for questions. Thanks for giving me a question so I can talk about some stuff. Is an insight an answer? That's the question. Is an insight an answer? Here's the short answer. No. And depending on how you look at it, yes. So yes and no. There's an answer. Now, let's scratch all that for a moment and just let's consider answers and what I view that we traditionally hold as answers. And this is like a piece of knowledge or a bit of information. Like if I ask somebody what's 2 + 2, the answer is 4. If I ask Einstein, what's the theory of relativity? The answer is whatever, E = mc squared, or, there's a formula or something. If I ask a master fighter, how do you do that? The fighter can give me the answer and say, well, it creates a state of mind that then you view reality through this principle, and then it allows you to perceive things the other person doesn't perceive, and then you can take advantage of them in ways that they have no idea because you're looking at a totally different world and relating to things that they don't even know. See, that's the answer to mastering fighting, right? But you can see that the answer doesn't really get you to master the fighting, or it doesn't really get you to have the breakthrough that Einstein had, or it does work for good, stuff like where's the toilet, or can I order some French fries, or what's on the menu today. Say you can get an answer to that. So I distinguish that type of knowledge as answer stuff, answers. Insights, obviously there's a different word for some other distinction that we have that we call an insight. And an insight is something I put in like the breakthrough department. You see, like Archimedes sitting in the bathtub and the water overflows, and then he grasps something about density and water displacement, and then he boom, and now all of a sudden he's got all the answers. But the insight part is not the same as the answers. The insight part is the breakthrough. It's the aha moment. It's the, and then here's another answer I heard. It's like from the non-rational mind. So the rational mind, for example, and again, you see all this stuff I'm saying is in the domain of answers to me. It's like intellectual knowledge. It's stimulating. It's fun. Perhaps if you're into that, and it's still at a certain level or depth, so to speak, and all it is intellect. And so there's the non-rational mind versus rational. Rationally, what we rationalize, we tend to follow a step-by-step process. First I learn A, then B, then C, then D, then eventually I can learn words, and then eventually I can learn sentences, and then paragraphs, and then writing, and then essays and books, and blah, bam, bam, right? The non-rational mind can get like a fraction of A and then jump to novels. It doesn't have to, it just, so it doesn't follow necessarily a linear progression, right? And insights seem to have this characteristic where, boom, I grasp something, and then now I have answers. I can write books. I can talk about it. I can point. I can share. I can make metaphors. I can do all of the intellectual things to continually try to point to the experience, which is like giving lots and lots and lots and lots of answers. Like if anybody writes about spiritual enlightenment, they're writing down answers or intellectual knowledge. And I see that as massively different in character than the insight itself. And as always on my channel and in the work I do, I will continually invite you to have the insights for yourself, because I view the knowledge as like there's nothing wrong with the knowledge, and yet it does not go to the depth of which I would like to invite you to for yourself. Because I think that insight aspect is the worthwhile thing. Like somebody had a quote somewhere about they were going along and then something happened and they had what they called the happiest thought of their life. The happiest thought they've ever had, something along those lines. I'm like, yeah, I know that. I know that. What are they talking about? The happiest thought of their life. There's something happened. See, and I suspect there's some kind of insight or breakthrough. And I can also attest to that. There is a certain freedom that comes from grasping something, from as if a source that seems to transcend having to go through some mundane process and then arrive at a conclusion. It's like, and I might be thinking during the process of trying to have an insight. I might be utilizing my intellect, like, I wonder what about this, and I wonder what about that, and well, what happens when you squash this thing over here, but then twist it around, and so I'm thinking, and I might be wondering. I might also be contemplating the question itself, just sitting there with it, like, I don't know. And all of these activities are distinct from an insight. The insight is the breakthrough part. All right? So for you listening, go have insights. Go make breakthroughs quickly. Time's short. However you hold it, okay? Don't just rely on intellect. Yes, intellect, very valuable, very useful. And in terms of like real progress, I think it is likely a necessary step along the way, but don't stop with intellect. That's probably the best thing and the best invitation I've got here for this video is don't just stop with your intellect. Move past that. See if you can move into a domain that transcends the intellect, or that it's like the domain that when you have the breakthrough, it allows for the intellect to occur in new ways, not in the same old ways. There's a huge power in insights. You see, I imagine like crafting fire was a huge insight back in the day. Somebody finally grasped that they could do something with fire. Can you imagine that? Or the wheel. Take a look around and see how much there's wheels. And there used to not be. Like, boom, you see, you have the insight, and now all this stuff is possible. Or Archimedes with the crown is the water displacement. He gets in the tub and then boom, overflows, and now we know how to measure density. Holy smokes. Mathematical insights in physics, insights that allow for psychology, insights in medicine, insights in spiritual enlightenment. Hey. Insights in martial arts and fighting. Insights that allow for technology. You see, all of these things likely are byproducts of somebody who had an insight somewhere, and then look what it allows for them to do with the kind of capacities. See, so I'm putting up a good front for having insights, not just thinking about stuff, but making breakthroughs. That's where I'd put my money. And you're invited to use this as an invitation to help you further your own work. Okay? So I hope that's been useful, valuable. Thank you for the question. I appreciate it. This is Brendan Lee with Consciousness and Skill Worldwide, founded by Peter Ralston. Till next time. Later.